Excellent. Let's get in that dungeon. Alright, this is the Azure Vault. Very exciting. I like this one. There's a certain sequence in here that is just absolutely busted. It seems to kill me every time I get in here. There's also this part where there's this whelp here, and it has a big circle around him. And you want to not walk into this. I'll point out, you want to not walk into it. As long as it doesn't get that cast off, it's fine. Oh, I moved my, okay, hold on. Let's just, throw this out here. Alright, so let me, I'm gonna cast a Fire Breath on these guys. Pyre just to reposition. Living Flame to proc my Leaping Flames. And then I'll cast a rank 3 Eternity Surge to hit everything. I'll cast a Pyre just because, again, I kind of want to move. I'm gonna rescue myself. And by rescue, I mean the other one. And I'm dead because I had aggro, I think. I like that. Yeah, sure. I can go over the defensives as well. So I'm not spec'd into one. It's this one here. So on a 2.5 minute cooldown, you increase armor by 200%, and you take 20% less magic damage while it's active. So it's sort of a minor damage reduction in armor. It's not necessarily the strongest thing ever. Okay, I'm actually going to Coolie for these ones because these guys scare me. Yeah. This happens quite literally every time. I'm not even surprised. Like, I don't know. There's no play around. You just die. I warned you guys. I did warn you. You have another button called Renewing Blaze. And so this is on a 1 minute cooldown because I have it talented. It's 1.5 normally. And the big thing there is just what happens is over 8 seconds, it basically says, hey, any damage that you take, I'm going to heal it back over a little bit of a longer period. So for 8 seconds, it's going to take the damage that you take, and it's going to heal it back over 14 seconds. So it's not really a very good defensive ability, but yeah, I'm just going to type to these guys. Yeah, it's okay. Those shards just kill every time. IDK. Alright, I'm stunned now. Great. It's fine. Yeah, let me just pop a couple of things to hopefully... Okay, no, I'm just dead. This is going super well. I don't think I had to die there necessarily, but I was just stunned and had the dots on me forever that whole time. So we'll just run it back, you know, the usual. I'll do another Dragon Breath into this so that I don't just get caught immediately. Or sorry, Deep Breath. And the Deep Breath is nice there. I'm just dead again, aren't I? Okay, I guess the tank died right there. That was disappointing. All right. After 4 deaths, we should be okay. So yeah, we talked about Renewing Blaze. We talked about Obsidian Scales. We've got a couple other things going on. So we have Zephyr, which is a 2 minute cooldown, and it basically has a damage reduction from AoE abilities. So it's not going to do much in this sort of context. Creek92, thanks for the follow. It's not going to be super effective in this sort of setting where you're just dying to a bunch of like single targeted stuff. But in a raid setting where a boss is doing a big like AoE on the ground or something like that, it can be helpful. But it's also, I'm going to use it right here just for fun. It's going to make everyone kind of float and give them a movement speed increase as well. So this is kind of a fun little thing. I've basically given everyone Levitate. It's a fun little visual at the very least. So you'll note between those three, right? So I mean, I talked about Zephyr, I talked about Renewing Blaze, talked about Obsidian Scales, and then we have a couple of like self-heals. So I have this ability where I can basically fly over to someone and heal them, like this. And that's a decent little heal. I can use that on myself as well in an emergency. That's kind of about it, though. So I want to be kind of super clear, because I talk about this all the time, both in the Evoker Discord and then always on the feedback forums as well. Devastation Evoker is really lacking in good defensive abilities. It is very much like, what's it called? It's very much like Hunter in Shadowlands and Healing Priest in Shadowlands, in that it has a couple of buttons technically, but certainly nothing very strong from the standpoint of good, reliable mitigation that's going to keep you alive if you get targeted in a raid situation by something dangerous. It's very limited in that sense, so... So that's something I've been giving a lot of feedback on, is that, like, yeah, the mobility is fun. Like, there's quite a bit here in terms of enjoyable gameplay. But Evoker is hurting from a personal defensive standpoint. There's no immunity, there's no dispersion where you take 75% less damage from everything, you know, there's no, I said no immunity, there's no ice block. It's, you know, again, and like armor is not a pure damage reduction. Here, let me just go into cooldowns. So I'll pop coolies right away off the start. We're going to do a Fire Breath, I'm going to pop a Living Flame, and then I'm going to pop an Eternity Surge rank 1. I'm also going to Bloodlust, since I don't see anyone else doing that. And then we're going to go Disintegrate, 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 Living Flame to proc another Eternity Burst, or Essence Burst, sorry, and then we're just going to cast a couple more Disintegrates, maybe another Living Flame into Essence Burst, Disintegrate, and maybe another Living Flame into Essence Burst, Disintegrate. We have another Fire Breath, so let's cast that at rank 4, and then we're going to do a little Living Flame Disintegrate action, you know, just our favorite stuff. Disintegrate again, because we procced it again. How about another Disintegrate? We love doing that. I actually canceled that early, that wasn't great, but now we'll do another little cheeky Eternity Surge at rank 1 with another little Disintegrate, instant cast Living Flame, and then kill the boss. Good stuff. That's how we do it. Top DPS. Let's go. Alright, so first time chat from ZomKitty. Weird you're playing the two classes I'm looking at. You're in the right place. Excellent. Can I give a quick opinion between the two for M+? Okay, so I still think Shadow is in a really weird spot for tuning, in that it needs a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff that isn't working yet in the kit. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to need to adjust, really think about, make sense of, really, like, you know, see through. And I think it's a little bit too early to say, obviously, for sure, precisely what I think about Shadow in an M+ context. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have some quick thoughts. Right now, it's looking really solid on sort of small target cleave. It's looking particularly solid. Okay, this is going to kill us again, unfortunately, and there's very little we can do about it. I can pop the Zipper thing, and then maybe do a Renewing Blaze, and just do, you know, maybe a self-heal here with this stuff. Just everything we can. Is our tank alive, or... I'm just trying to... No, I think he just got. Alright, I think I'm going to have to release. Maybe. Are they right here, though? Okay, maybe we live. Maybe we're okay. Oh, is there a tank down there? No. Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate this situation. I could probably pop ghoulies on these guys. Sure, so let's pop ghoulies. We'll go here. Oh, no, I'm just dead. Jesus Christ. Like, alright, whatever. That's really frustrating. Interrupt mechanics or die nice mechanic. Yeah, it just seems overtuned. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure about this one. But I've been here a couple times and I've just never not died to that. It's just been a recurring thing. Right, so I think Shadow is in need of a lot of tuning. Before I can give like a good honest opinion of exactly how I'm going to feel about how the thing plays in keys. But what I can say is that it's looking very promising actually right now from like a 4 to 5 target cleave situation. The way that Shadow Crash works, that it applies VT on 4 targets, and that it works with Misery as well. So you get VT, basically Shadow Crash popping VT and Shadow or Pain on 4 targets is actually really nice. So that button is doing a lot of work in 4 target cleave. You're getting a lot of help from Psychic Link. You're getting a lot of help from hilariously Dark Ascension is actually quite strong even in like 4 target cleave right now, because you're getting a lot of damage from your Mind Blast through Psychic Link, through the damage aura every minute. And then the absolute biggest thing carrying damage right now is the Shadow Flame Prism, which they changed the name of. But basically Mindbender in that tree is still absolutely carrying. So how that translates to higher target AoE is basically what's up in the air, though. That's not that's something that's not super clear yet. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for. Of course, Shadow very lacking in traditional utility. So you're in a weird spot to even get your kick in the tree because of how that thing is built. I'm really annoyed by that. I can't pull up the Shadow tree here, obviously, but the way that they've set it up in the top part of the tree that you have to spend points on Dispersion and Silence is really frustrating to me. I've made a whole video, actually, on the latest Shadow Blue post and what I think about it and whatever. It's on my YouTube, and should give some sort of thoughts around that stuff at the very least. But you know, by and large, Shadow utility in keys has always been, and you know, will continue to be highly situational. It's not something necessarily that you know, you don't have a big AoE stun, you don't have a good reliable kick, you might not even take a kick, honestly. So it's just you know, you're gonna be in that group. You're gonna be doing some ridiculous damage on big pulls with power infusion ostensibly. If you can get into a group with, like, you know, I mean, you might do the traditional thing where you go like, oh, I have a rogue and I have a mage, and maybe I can fill with a shadow priest as the third, and you're gonna have PI with the mage as well, and that kind of thing. And maybe that just turns out to be extra strong, right? Of course, that could work, sure. Most healers are going to be able to interrupt now in Dragonflight, so basically, as long as you don't also have a priest healer, you should be pretty okay for kicks. So, you know, I mean, I'm actually not that pessimistic about Shadow in keys going forward. It is just kind of sad and frustrating from my point of view to not have access to a lot of that really basic M+ utility, mainly because when my guild plays keys, it is, generally speaking, at a pretty, you know, casual level a lot of the time. We're going to run with kind of whatever we have, you know. It's not like we have a very specific composition ever. I'm not sure what... You're just going to have to... Yeah, we're going to have to pull. Like, sorry. I'm not talking to my group, but I should probably let them know. One sec. I think we might need to clear most of this platform. At least the guys on the glowy bits, probably. All right. So Shadow, I think will be playable at the very least. It's hard to think of it as something that will necessarily be super meta unless the damage is actually unreal, and I don't think that's going to be the case, because right now I don't necessarily see it scaling extremely well with high targets. But part of the reason that's hard to tell right now is because a lot of the stuff that does scale with those targets is bugged. Especially the Idol of N'Zoth right now is really frustrating because it's currently scaling with attack power instead of spell power. And it's they've moved it to a spot in the tree where it's actually very awkward to get. So that's a little bit unlucky. But on the whole, like... I have concerns about Shadow. I'm really frustrated with the utility. There's still a lot that they could stand to tweak, to perfect. And I've been working, obviously, with... I mean, I've been talking a lot in the Priest Discord, but I'm also an MVP over there, so I've been, you know, chatting with, you know, with our Theory Crafters and friends, and they've been putting together some really good feedback. Obviously, every time there's a blue post, they put up some really good feedback, but this time especially. So I made a quick little video on that, and also they posted some feedback most recently in the threads, so you can kind of read our shared thoughts about what's kind of outstanding with the spec right now. But by and large, look, I expect the thing to be very playable and very fun. It's just it's hard to say if it's going to be, you know, like a meta spec for M+ necessarily, and the answer is probably not, unless it happens to be ridiculous on damage. And that's kind of always been the case, right? Unless it turns out that Shadow is just nuts on damage, and with twins, you know, it could fulfill that niche. It's hard to get super excited about it for M+. For Raid, though, same thing as always. Usually you have enough utility to make up for Shadow not necessarily bringing utility, and it's plenty survivable. So I have a lot of grievances around, you know, hey, I wish Vampiric Embrace were better. I wish there was a reason to bring Shadow instead of, you know, another Discipline Priest, let's say. Like a specific spec utility kind of thing. But as we said before, Twins is going to be a plenty good reason to bring Shadow to Raid, whether we like it or not. So, you know, again, hard to get too mad about, you know, the question of why would we bring this spec to Raid, because there's plenty of good reason to bring this spec to Raid, really. It's just, it might not be the answer we're hoping for at the end of the day. And I've talked about this a lot too. I have a big preference in my heart of hearts for, you know, active utility that I feel like I'm contributing to the group's success when I push it and I do a thing. So, you know, having, you know, using an interrupt, right? That's active utility, and it's something that I'm doing. You know, and Same thing with having, like, AoE stuns and roots and CCs on enemies and that sorts of thing, right? Leap of Faith is actually a good example of active utility that makes you feel like you're doing a good thing. What is happening with my character right now? What is this? What the heck? What is my character right now?
So powerful.
Are you guys seeing? What the heck? Movement speed? I don't even. Okay. Thanks, I got the wings. Wow. I don't even. I don't know where I left off other than, Shadow, I'm actually expecting to be a relatively safe bet, at the very least for raid, and then for M+, usual situation where it's a little bit too early to say. It'll probably do fine damage. It's probably going to continue to suffer from a utility standpoint, but the fact that we have twins now baseline actually means, at the very least, we're probably going to do good damage. So, yeah, no problem. But yeah, and I won't talk too much about Evoker specifically, like, I mean, outside of narrating what's going on here, right? Like, this spec will do damage in keys, especially once we figure out, what's best and how to play it the best and all that. And there's definitely utility. So Cauterizing Flame removes all bleeds, poison, curses, and diseases every minute. Very nice, very effective. Landslide is this thing that it's going to go and, like, root everything, right? And that's extremely valuable in certain situations. Now, it sounds like they got rid of Necrotic, but, hey, that's something that's to consider. We have a 20-second kick on this spec, which is really nice. We have very good mobility, which is really nice for dodging mechanics. We're doing plenty of damage, generally speaking. What else? We have good sort of off healing. I can go and I can, like, rescue this guy, heal him for 25k. That's very cool. We also, we have that, what's actually called rescue is the old fly with me. This is a boss, so why don't I do this? Oh, I actually messed up a little bit. I'm just gonna lust them. Why not? Let's get it going. Just cast a few disintegrates. Fourth disintegrate. Cast a quick Eternity Surge. Oh yeah, okay, I remember this boss. Sorry, I want to get a couple things in this cone. Okay, well, that was disappointing. Ones, you got me with the prime sub? Dude, I'm not going to scoff at that. That's money. Let's go. Thank you so much. Alright, we got this Ancient Orb. I have to dodge that. I think that just kills you. I have my Empower abilities off cooldown, of course, which means I'm a bad player, so not great. But we got there. We did some good stuff.
I do not blame her.
Man's got to drink coffee, dude. You know it. So Evoker brings a lot more of the traditional tools to an M+ setting, right? You have the stun on Deep Breath, which is nice. You have, again, this little, like, Zephyr button that's going to make everybody run a little bit faster, take a little bit less damage from AoE stuff. You have a quick little, you have a little off heal here in Emerald Blossom that you can just drop. You have Verdant Embrace, which I can just pop, like, now in the tank and I go heal him, and that's really cool. You have really traditional sort of CC, like I can hit this little, hit a little, like, wing buffet, and I just hit a bunch of stuff. And that's, supposed to kind of displace it. Little knockback. You have access to a root, which is really nice. And most importantly, a 20-second kick, right? And compared to Shadow, 20-second kick versus a kick that I might not even take is night and day, right? So, not bad, right? Like, this is the sort of spec that it doesn't do anything super crazy for M+. Like, you bring a Bloodlust, right? The Bloodlust is important. You have this Blessing of the Bronze thing, which is really nice. It makes everyone It gives people more access to their movement skills, so you're at least going to be going fast in a key. And I've run into situations at the very least where I've been looking to join a key, and they've been like, hey, we just need someone with a bloodlust. So, you know what? Like, this is actually not bad, right? So, you know, you're getting more traditional utility with the Evoker. And it doesn't necessarily look like anything... I haven't seen anything with this spec where it's, you know, on the level of, like, Rogue or... I don't even know if I want to say, like, Mage, but, you know, there's nothing here that's going to go, hey, this thing is just going to be absolutely absurd because it brings something that no one else does. It's not necessarily that. It's just, it brings very standard, useful stuff. So, that's kind of the difference, the way I see it between the two, is this thing is, it's very simple, it has good movement, it has the traditional, good M+ utility. And it brings a bloodlust, which is nice. The flip side is, you know, Shadow is going to look more... It's going to be the traditional, unconventional utility. It's going to have Mass Dispel. It's going to have, you know, PI, basically. What else? Void Tendrils? Any Void Tendrils gamers? Yeah, very generalized utility versus very specific utility. That's kind of how we look at it, right? So, that's what I would say. I don't think you're going to be too upset playing Evoker in M+ unless it just turns out to be, like, seriously underperforming from, like, a damage standpoint. And I don't really know if that could be the case. It's certainly the kind of thing that is unlikely to be the best, because there's not necessarily a lot here that's going to scale out of control. But you have a button that does uncapped AoE, and that's really useful. It doesn't do a lot of damage on low target counts, but anytime you just have a spender that does uncapped AoE, that's not bad. You have, and your Fire Breath is also uncapped, right? This dot that just hits every target. It does do less damage. It's square root targeting, actually. So it does less above 5, but fair play. But even still, right? So, I'm not too worried necessarily about Evoker in dungeons, so to speak. So, we'll see how it goes. All right, we've got a boss here. I think I usually like to bloodlust this one, but shouldn't be too bad. Okay, we're waiting for our monk. All right, I'm just gonna pop coolies right off the bat, just because I think it'll be fun. Throw a Living Flame down, we'll throw our level 1 Eternity Surge. I'm going to hover in place so I can disintegrate on the move. There's an ability that I always forget on this boss where you have to go stand inside a blue thing, and I'll see if I can remember to do it. There it is. So stand in this. Wait, it didn't go off yet, right? Okay. Okay, I didn't do a lot of damage there, but I just wanted to make sure I did the mechanic properly, so fair play. Yeah, that's a typical boss fight. We got a ring. Let's go. Yeah, by the way, I'm not like biscued or anything. I'm at 379 eye level right now. Equipped. Apparently 403 bagged. How am I 4... Do I secretly have like a high level weapon somewhere in here? I don't know. Whatever. I'll figure it out. How am I 403 bags? Ah, whatever. But yeah, it's okay. It's from all the crafted gear on the on the beta right now, so something to think about. All right, I am gonna Coolie right now though. Okay. Okay, I didn't actually, that didn't quite go as long as I wanted, but... Alright, I'm going to hover out of the way of that. I was hoping to hit the 2 targets with the Deep Breath. That was the point of doing that. And that didn't exactly work out the way I hoped. Alright, I'm gonna Time Spiral to use a hover. And now I'm still hovering. Okay, I don't know what got me there, but that's okay. I'm gonna throw a little Emerald Blossom down, hit the tank with it as well. That should be nice. I have to push my Empower abilities. I've been kind of neglecting that. I'm gonna hover out of the way of this. Rank 1 Eternity Surge, throw an instant gas into Disintegrate. Okay. I'm gonna throw a Pyre here onto the... Okay, it only hit the 1, so good to know. Pyre there was useless. Not a good selection of spell at all. Here we've got our Fire Breath coming up, so I'm just gonna finish off this Detonating Crystal. Hopefully. Nope. Failed that. But let's get our Empowers on the boss before he dies. I don't need to rank 4 this, but for science. Cool. Good stuff. Looking for multitudes. 100 random players, guys. I've been doing so many dungeons. GG.